Well, I guess it's time to go ahead and start another playlist here. Just finished Final Fantasy IV and uploaded the last video today, and honestly I'm not really looking forward to going back to Star Ocean yet, and I'm still waiting on the Tales from the Mojave piece before I get back to recording that. I'm not in the mood also to start Mother 3, even though that will be coming soon. So I was wondering, what's a quick game that I could play, something that'll make for a short playlist. And this game was suggested to me it wasn't really a suggestion, but in the comments, and it's a game that I've been meaning to play for quite some time. I just never really got around to it. It is Radical Dreamers, which takes place in the Chrono Trigger universe, and it takes place after Chrono Trigger, but before Chrono Cross. And like I said, I've never actually played the game. I have tested it out for about 20 minutes, just to, see what the gameplay was like and see how the recording would actually work and everything. And I think it's going to be rather interesting. It is not the same type of game as Chrono Cross or Chrono Trigger. It is basically a choose-your-own-adventure book that you play through with cutscenes and music and sound effects and things like that. And again, it seems fairly interesting. There are some rather racy scenes even in the first 20 minutes, it sounded like, because you have to remember this game was not officially released in America. It was released only in Japan on their satellite view adapter that they had. I guess it was their Nintendo's answer to the Sega Channel. So there is no official American censored version for it, because if you've ever done any study, I guess, or even really heard any talk about Square games, you know that almost all of them were censored to some degree to be released over here in the United States. Nintendo forced them to censor it. So there's no censoring on this fan translation, and I'm not going to be doing any censoring either. But again, the game probably doesn't need it. The scenes aren't that bad. But I just wanted to, kind of alert you guys that they are there. It's not nearly as bad as Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, but you guys will see, I'm sure. So I guess without any further ado, I'll go ahead and jump into the game. Remember, it is not like Chrono Trigger or Chrono Cross. It is a choose-your-own-adventure here. Try not to post spoilers in the comments. It was then that I opened the notebook my mother had given me. She said she found it while cleaning out the closet. Crumbling and covered with dust, it turned out to be the diary of my long-lost grandfather. Do you still remember how we first met and all of our adventures since? It all seems like such a dream nowadays. You were a piece of star that fell from the sky. Whenever I want to return to those days long gone, I close my eyes and whisper your name into the evening sky. Kid. Kid. What a night it was. Kid! Hey, kid! Are you ready, kid? I know you're anxious, but stay on your toes. Yeah, likewise, mate. Mess up and I'm leaving you behind. Come on, McGill. That bastard Lynx is gonna get what he deserves. Say your prayers. Not that it'll do you any good. Radical Dreamers. Le Trésor Interdit, or something like that. The treasure something? I don't speak French. Let's see, we can go normal speed text, fast, yeah. Apparently I can't go the slowest Le Pew. I think I'm just going to go normal speed. I tested out fast, and there's actually a time limit on some of the scenes. As soon as the text finishes, it'll give you multiple choice options, and you'll have a set amount of time to choose your options. Otherwise, the game will choose for you. So I'm actually going to set it to normal because reading it, like I do here, it slows things down a little bit. I can read it much quicker in my head, but just to try not to get myself into any trouble here. Also, these videos are only going to be about 30 minutes long. Boy, did her information help. I thought the perimeter's counterspell would be quite a problem. Kid's braid sways gently from side to side in the cool nighttime breeze. So far, we've managed to slip through the magical shield network undetected and sneak into Lynx's domain. Still, this inner region can make for some pretty rough travel. Kid, McGill, and I comprise this party of 3. It's been something like 3 years since Kid and I met. Back then I was a drifter, wandering wherever my music led me. During my stay in the remote town of Regoria, I ended up running into a girl who later joined me, leading to the beginning of all this. That girl was Kid. Kid is a thief, of course. Not even 17 years old. Already she's widely renowned as a top professional. To make matters worse, she's cute, devilishly stylish, and has a sparkling personality. And boy, can she cook. If you ask her, that is. Well, to be completely honest, she has her share of problems as well. She likes to think of herself as a kind of Robin Hood, stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. But that's just not the case. At times, her sharp tongue can get the best of her, viciously lashing out at anyone who stands in her way. She exaggerates every other word, and sometimes lies outright. And as for listening to other people, well, forget it. When it comes to money, well, I've never met anyone greedier in my life. Her relentless pursuit of wealth is ironic, considering she's a nomad like me. I don't know. Maybe I am being too hard on her. She has her good points, too. She can really shine sometimes, when she wants to. Glancing back over my shoulder, I notice a silhouette silently emerge from the grove. McGill. This associate of Kid's is known to us only as McGill of the Shadows. I know next to nothing about him, except for the fact that he somehow knew Kid before I came into the picture. A high-class magician of some sort, he looks to be about 30. He usually keeps to himself, though. The top half of his face is covered with a mask at all times. I've never even seen what he really looks like. At times, it seems as though I'm hanging around someone from another world. Traveling with this pack is definitely an interesting experience. Kid's quiet about her past, too. But it's like I know her entire life story compared to how little I know about McGill. From time to time, I find myself wondering who he is, where he came from, and so on. I'd ask Kid, but I get the impression she knows as little about him as I do. You might be wondering, how did I end up where I am now? Well, there's a lot of reasons, I suppose. I guess you could say that life doesn't always go how you plan. Suddenly, Kid comes to an abrupt stop. Seems someone wants to say hello. Out of a nearby thicket, two shimmering eyes catch my attention. Whatever it is, it's staring at me silently. After a few moments, a few more pairs of eyes appear. They seem to be surveying the area. A deep feline growl breaks the uncomfortable silence, and I realize we're being hunted by a pack of feral cats. A few of the figures slowly approach from behind the trees. I look behind me, only to see they've already encircled us. A few more slowly creep in, now totaling about 10. Chills run down my spine. In a daze, I clumsily unsheath my knife, grasping it tightly as I bite my lip. Kid stands ready with an air of composure. Careful, mate. These buggers are probably rabid. The growling increases, now a constant rumble all around us. Their yellow eyes shimmer like jack-o'-lanterns, while saliva drips from their snarling jaws. The middle one's stomach gurgles as its eyes widen, fixed directly on me. Looks like we ain't getting out of this one without a fight. What should we do? Attack. Magic. Defend. I'm going to attack. I slash viciously at a nearby cat. Startled, it leaps back with incredible reflexes. I stay my ground, not getting any closer to the beast. Hearing a howl, I know I've hit my mark. Licking its wound, the animal recovers after a moment of pain. I ready my knife, waiting for my next chance to attack. Sarge, behind ya! I turn around to see that I'm now face to face with a pair of those ravenous yellow eyes. Let's defend. In desperation, I raise my arms in a cross, guarding my face. The beast catapults onto me, throwing me down and pinning me to the ground. I scream from the bottom of my lungs as I feel the sharp jaws clamp down on my skin. Obviously, defense was a bad move. The beast straddles my body. Its teeth are now sunken deeply into my arm, my blood staining its fur as it growls. The pain is unbearable. I do everything in my power to struggle and break free, but the jaws are like an iron trap, gnawing and ripping flesh deeper and deeper with every passing second. Whoa, what was that? All of a sudden the cat is hurled off me, thrown backwards by some incredible force. It cowers in a heap, away behind a tree, with a gaping hole in its belly. It roars helplessly. I look up to see Kid standing behind me, her knife dripping with blood. Squeezing the wound on my arm, I rise to my feet. I take a deep breath and try to tighten my grip on my knife, now slippery with sweat. Then, out of nowhere, Kid flashes across my field of vision, landing a direct hit onto a cat beside me. The cat screeches in pain as Kid pins it to the ground, stomping and kicking with all her rage. Without a moment's delay, she boots the animal up underneath its jaw. It moves no more. All of a sudden, the crazed atmosphere gives way to a war cry behind me. I whip around to see McGill's inferno spell, setting the cat's head ablaze. It jumps up, screeching and howling in madness before running away wildly. In confusion, it runs directly into a tree and knocks itself out cold. Man, I look around and see that only one of the pack hasn't been taken care of yet. As Kid and I start to close in on the beast, it bolts, fearing for its life. Well, that was some workout, eh, mate? Says Kid, coming towards me as she tends to her arm. I take a deep breath as I look around, trying not to step on too many of the bodies. I'll admit I was a little worried back there at times, but nothing too serious happened. I try talking to McGill, despite knowing how he'll react. Are you all right? With an expressionless face, he looks down at me blankly. You need not worry about me. Wow, the affection is just overflowing from that guy. However, I probably shouldn't start complaining now. We've still got a long way to go. We haven't even set foot inside Viper Manor yet. Kid glances over at me, seeming eager as ever, ready to tackle what's next. You want to hang around all night or what, mate? Let's go. Hey, come here. Trying to ignore my aches and pains, I head over towards Kid. Good job back there, mate. She comes closer. I can see the reflection of the moon in her eyes as she gives me a warm, comforting smile. But come on, we can't just stand around all night. There's treasure waiting to be found. I'm still lost in her eyes as she starts to set off. McGill continues behind her without a hitch. I hurry to catch up behind the two. In a place like this, getting separated would be a bad idea. We continue to make our way through this natural labyrinth of wood and rock. Somewhere, quietly waiting within this huge forest, Viper Manor beckons us. Deep within lies the treasure we've come for. Lord Lynx, as he's formerly known, is an aristocrat who governs the Regiona Outlands. From the way Kid talks, he's apparently an old adversary of hers. Tonight, though, our goal is Lord Lynx's most prized possession, a scarlet jewel known as the Frozen Flame. Besides being priceless, some say this beautiful stone harbors some sort of mystical power. They say many people have sought after the flame, but none have been victorious in stealing it. Viper Manor has claimed many lives, but we will succeed. We pride ourselves on making the impossible possible. Besides, the way Kid talks about Lynx sometimes, it sounds like she's got an awfully personal vendetta against him. We can't lose. We've come too far to lose. And so, after having spent countless hours crossing this dreary, lonesome forest, the silhouette of a towering mansion finally comes into view through the trees. We made it, Kid shouts. Your days are numbered, Lynx. We quickly make our move, quietly dashing out from behind a thicket. Once at the mansion wall, we creep stealthily along the perimeter, searching for an entry point. After a short while, we come upon a terrace near a garden which looks relatively inviting. It doesn't look like there are any guards on patrol. Still, the mansion gives off a strange sort of morbid feeling. It's as quiet as death. McGill gazes up at the towering fortress. We can enter into the west wing from here. There's no need to look elsewhere. Okay, let's go, Kid says, jumping over the terrace handrail. Halt! Shouts McGill from behind, staring at Kid. Our goal is the Frozen Flame, not vengeance on Lord Lynx. Remember this, Kid. Aye, no prob, she says, glancing over her shoulder. Ain't gonna be nothing to it, like taking candy from a baby. We'll be out of here before that slimy rat knows what hit him. Yeah, you low-down, good-for-nothing bastard. I'll make you pay. There she goes again. Come on, I'm getting tired of waiting around, she yells before bolting into the mansion. McGill shakes his head in silence as I chase after Kid, already deep inside. The darkness engulfs me. Passages extend to the left and right. Wherever we turn, darkness awaits. Let's go to the right. As though we're inside a gigantic snake, the passageway twists and turns, stretching deeper and deeper into the mansion. We now stand in almost complete and utter darkness. Just a trace of moonlight manages to illuminate the path. I stop for a moment and realize it's now completely silent. I feel as though we're being watched silently by every single being in this dreadful house. Taking a deep breath, I move on. And I set my foot down slyly. With the stealth of a cat, yet so valiantly composed, Kid follows behind in stride. Drifting in and out of the shadows, the macabre figure of McGill looks out from behind. The Weaver of Fate has surely by now taken notice of us, cradling us carefully in her arms. We make our way down the dimly lit passageway. After a few moments, we come to an old, dusty door on the right. Kid quietly presses her ear against the door. Quiet as a church mouse. No one's there, mate. She says no one's there. Let's, go in. The door creaks open. What's with all this junk? Must be a storeroom or something. It seems like this is the inner mechanics of a clock tower. However, the gears look old and rusted, and cogs are spinning randomly without connecting up with their proper teeth. I doubt the clock's still in use today. The room seems to be currently used as a storage area. A large object catches my attention, off in a far corner of the room. It's too dark over there to see what it is, though. Do not touch anything out of the ordinary, McGill says abruptly, sending a sudden shock down my spine. However, just as he says this, I see Kid emerge from the shadows, dragging the large object out into the middle of the room. It's a large antique sword of some kind. We've got no use for that old thing, Kid. All it'll do is slow us down. Besides, we probably wouldn't even get much money for it. I reckon it's worth a lot to the right buyer, like an antique collector's somebody. Sulking, Kid quietly lays the sword down. What do you want? I look around, startled. That was definitely not any of our voices. Kid and McGill immediately take position, focusing their attention towards the source of the voice. Who's there? A figure suddenly appears out of the darkness. It seems to be a short, old woman with a large hood over her head. Although fully covered, it's obvious she's quite old. Aw, it's just some old hag, Kid says. McGill's sharp gaze on the woman remains unchanged, however. What an energetic young lady. You haven't come here this late in the evening to drop in on some friends, I'd imagine. I glance at Kid. Perhaps you have some score to settle with Master Lynx. My heart jumps. This is definitely not good. Will she warn the rest of them about us? Tell the truth, play dumb? Let's just play dumb. Lynx? Who's this Lynx bloke? Kid plays dumb with all her might. If I didn't know her better, I'd say she's quite a convincing actor. After all, she really isn't the kind of person who worries much about lying in the first place. From what I've heard, Kid says, that bloke sounds like quite a character. I don't know anyone stupid enough to go against someone like that. Ain't that right? There's no need to try and deceive me, young lady. Oh boy, I'm just gonna confess and admit the truth. Why not? If she fights us, so be it. Kid's eyes narrow. If we did have a score to settle with that bastard, what's it to you? Just as I expected. The old woman cackles in amusement. Children, they're always so interesting like that. So imaginative, yet so predictable. What are you talking about, old lady? Oh boy. Oh, it's already been 4 or 5 years, I would gather. According to what I was told, one night a young thief came to the manor, looking for trouble. This thief was a little girl, about 10 years old. Surprised, I glance at Kid. There's a trace of an ice-like radiance in her eyes. Staring at her makes me feel like it suddenly dropped below freezing in here. Unfazed, the old woman continues her story. The girl was an orphan. She set off to face Master Lynx all alone, hoping to avenge the girl who had cared for her like a big sister. But, after all, she was alone. Outnumbered and overpowered, she was eventually defeated and captured by Master Lynx's henchmen. As an ally, Master Lynx can be quite an asset. However, as an enemy, he can be one of the most fearsome men alive. If not for a friend who sneaked in and secretly rescued her, she surely would have perished. From what I've heard, this mysterious figure who could allegedly slip in and out of the shadows was the subject of many whispers throughout the manor, long after this incident had come to pass. Not moving a muscle, I try to look for McGill. He's nowhere to be seen. I can only guess he's sporting one of those trademark expressionless faces, somewhere off in the darkness. The inhabitants of Viper Manor don't condemn the unfortunate, because no one can win all the time. However, from time to time, the goddess of fate has been known to cast down those who have too much good luck, throwing the cogs of time out of order. It's not wise to try and stand against fate, continuing to repeat one's mistakes time and time again. The old woman continues, staring straight at Kid, smiling sweetly. If you want to steal the jewel, and if you really want to beat him, you too must give up your most valued possession, Kid. As long as you cling to it, the hands of your clock will never budge. They'll stay frozen, trapped in the distant past. Who the bloody hell is this old hag? Me? Oh, just an old lady. Pay me no mind. Thank you for listening to this old maid for such a long time. I certainly hope I haven't delayed you at all. But before you leave, which one of you... With that, the old woman looks in my direction. Ah, yes. You look like you've got a bit of a scrape there. Won't you let me have a look at it? What should I do? I don't know whether to be petrified or comforted by all this. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna say yes. The old woman clasps her hands together. Bowing her head, she mumbles a few words in a low tone. Suddenly, a gentle pale blue light surrounds my body, filling me with a strange warmth. Wow, look at that! My wounds are being healed before my eyes. It feels as though there's some sort of soft music being played all around me, putting me into a strange serenity. When I come around, the woman is gone. "Hello? Lady?" says Kid, relentlessly looking around. However, there's no trace of her. All signs of her presence are gone. Wonder what was up with that old hag. Looking around, I can't help but wonder what she was talking about, with all that talk about a prized possession and everything. Let's get our arses out of here. This place has given me the creeps, says Kid all of a sudden, already heading for the door. Hey, wait up. As I catch up with Kid, she gives me a friendly poke in the ribs. Humph, ain't no fair you were the only one who got illed. From here, the passageway stretches to the right and left. The right path continues on into the mansion, while heading to the left will take us to the terrace. Well, with this, I think I'm going to end the video here, and whenever we come back, we'll decide which way to go. But man, this story, I told you guys I tested for like 20 minutes before, and this story, just because I took a different path, it's obviously completely different. There's been several different things that I've tried since my first testing, and I'm kind of surprised at the variance. So, needless to say, things can go much worse than they have, and I assume whenever we come back, we are eventually going to find out just how bad things can be.